Jonghyun was a very kind person. Not only was he caring for the people directly in his life, he truly cared about his fans. It feels like I have no words to describe how he has affected me. Now, I don't use that word in a negative connotation. I'm glad that I got to hear his voice in my lifetime. I am not the biggest K-pop fan, outside of Jonghyun and BTS to an extent. I never got to experience his music before his death. Many of you may call me a fake fan, but I really do not care. He has still affected me, just in a much different way. And that is what my goal for this video is, to share all of our stories. We have come from different walks of life, but we share a common place. A place that honors Jonghyun. He means a lot to us, and there's a reason for that. Also, keep in mind that this video will be by no means monetized towards me. If it ends up being monetized, it will have been monetized by SM Entertainment. I have no intention of making money on a tragedy, even if it was a year after his death. I have thankfully never had to deal with suicidal thoughts, but my heart still aches for those who struggle. If you are currently having those thoughts, please reach out to someone. I know it's hard, but reach out to a friend, a pastor, a teacher, your parents. Reach out to someone you trust. There are people who care about you. I think to explain why his death affected me as much as it did would make me go back to the summer of 2017. I would not discover who he was until December, but this summer was incredibly dark for me. I've battled anxiety and depression for a long time, and while I did not know it was depression until just this year, I almost never left my room unless I was at work or the movies. I had no drive to leave my room, so I just sat and paced around in there listening to music. I know how it feels to feel completely and utterly alone. I felt stuck. There was a shining light at the end of this tunnel, though. I want to thank my old drama director for this, but the year prior, I discovered my love for acting. I was not a part of any shows, though, because my anxiety always got the best of me. When I went back to school that year, I told myself that I will audition for a play. And that's how I discovered that theater is what I want to do with my life. I was cast as Ross in Macbeth, and my life was changed. Before rehearsals started, though, about a month before, Jonghyun passed away, and I saw how it affected my little sister. I was interested, so I checked out his album, Poet Artist. I looked more into him, and I think why I grew so affected by him was because of that summer. That summer I felt utterly alone, and that was how he felt. He had loving family and friends, as did I, but that did not stop the thoughts from forming. The thoughts of doubt. Listening to Before Our Spring is something that makes my heart ache and my stomach ache. Jonghyun was such a talented artist and wonderful person. But that was just my story. Now, I'm going to read some stories from others who were also affected, because this story is not just mine, it is ours. We may have experienced it differently, but we've all felt for Jonghyun, and all of our hearts go out to his family. I began standing SHINee in late October of 2017. I was already a huge K-pop fan, but I feel like SHINee kind of brought me further into the K-pop world. I remember coming home from school and just rewatching the Lucifer music video over and over in the beginning. You know, I remember the exact moment I fell for Jonghyun. It was when I found this video called something along the lines of Jonghyun Smiling Compilation. Everything about his smile and the little shine in his eyes made my heart flutter. I went through a lot of hardships in that November. Everything just went wrong for me, and I felt like existence just wasn't worth it. I barely smiled anymore, and I could barely get out of bed without feeling tired and sick. I truly had no one during this time. Well, no one in real life. SHINee was there, though. They were there for me when I was crying into my pillow, just hoping the exhaustion would sweep over me and lull me to sleep. They were there for me when I genuinely felt there was nothing that could make me happy anymore. Jonghyun is especially there, though. The songs he wrote and the things he said were just so comforting to me. What he made and spoke was art in its purest form. He couldn't be there for me in person, but hearing him was enough for me. I knew he struggled too, and I guess that's why I was so drawn to him. Not saying that no one else did. I just felt he knew what I was going through, and he expressed it for me, basically. He's strong, and I envied that, so I tried my hardest to be like that. I honestly think of him as my role model. November was slow, but I made it through. When December came along, I was ready for Christmas break. I remember counting down the days till the last week. My last day at school, I sat at my desk talking to my girlfriend, and she just randomly brought up Jonghyun. She asked if I knew him, and I responded with a yeah. Something about the popping up for a while made me unsettled. She told me he was dead. I remember reading those words and feeling my heart just palpitate. I was having a panic attack. Every part of me wanted to reject the idea and say it was someone else. I was quiet the whole day and refused to speak with anyone. I couldn't and didn't want to believe that world had lost something so fucking precious. I remember thinking the world was cruel and heartless. I knew we didn't deserve someone as special as him, but it wasn't fair he was taken away. He didn't just make me happy at my lowest moments, he made millions of others happy too. He gave, and expecting nothing in return, he worked and worked despite how tired he was. It took me months before I could think of him and not weep. He was a part of me. As cheesy as it sounds, he was. He truly changed the way I looked at things. I'll skip to the present now and where I stand. I promised myself that I would stay strong and keep going because that's what he would have wanted. He would have wanted for us to become stronger and keep going. I'm stronger now. I still struggle, but I cope. I still have my low moments where I'm balancing at the edge, but I make it through. I'm still able to stand when I'm down. I want to thank Jonghyun for not only being the ray of sunshine of my rainy day, but for just existing and giving other people the chance to experience him. I want to thank him for staying strong for so long. Just one big thank you. It took me a while to get into SHINee completely, but I have always loved Jonghyun and his solo work. That's why I started learning about him. I was so amazed by how great of an artist he was and how beautiful he was as a person. He was so caring and lovable and so hardworking, I couldn't help but fall for his personality and talents. To this day, he and his music inspires me to be a better person and work hard, and I love him so much. On December 18th, it was such a nice day for me until I got home and learned about what happened. My heart broke and I cried endlessly for a week. Even the mention of his name broke my heart. I seriously have never been that heartbroken in my life, and that's when my mental health got much worse. I stopped caring about school, I locked myself away from everyone, and I was slowly destroying myself, but tried to act fine. When his last comeback was released, I got even worse. I begged my dad to buy me the album because I wanted to have something to remember him. When I attended his memorial, I felt like a burden was off my shoulders, and like I was finally letting go of him, because till then I didn't want to believe it. It took months to start trying to get better, and I still haven't fully recovered, but I'm much better now. Because of him, I finally realized what my dream is, and it is to help people who are suffering just like he and I did, and I'm so thankful to him. He gave me the opportunity to finally have a dream and something to fight for, and he will always be my idol, and then the one I look up to the most. He's just so special to me, and I can't begin to explain how much I love and treasure him. Jonghyun is a name that will forever be stuck in my head because of the ways he showed me to love. He showed me how to love myself and others. He showed me how to smile and laugh. When he left, my world started closing. I realized, even if he was gone, he's still here in my heart. And through my sadness, I found happiness in his name. I'll forever love and miss Jonghyun, but he's taught me love and kindness, before and after his death, and I'll forever be thankful. When I first got into K-pop, SHINee was my first K-pop group ever, and my first introduction to K-pop as a whole. At the time, I was really struggling with self-acceptance and self-identity, and I was beating myself up a lot, because I was surrounded by talented people who were all going places, and it seemed that I was just floundering. At the time, I was doing a lot of singing, and I was in choir and doing voice lessons and all of that, but I was still hurting a lot, because I felt like I couldn't measure up to the people around me and my own standards. SHINee as a whole helped me through it a lot, but most importantly out of it all was Jonghyun. He helped me to learn to accept myself and get better. His voice helped me through some of my worst days and inspired me to keep singing and to become everything that I want to be. His voice was the soundtrack to my hope, and he was the sole thing that made my love for music blossom. When he died, I felt like I couldn't breathe. For the longest time, I strayed away from music, stopped my voice lessons, and rarely ever listened to music on my headphones. The person who meant the most to me, who shaped my love for music, was hurting so much to the point that he didn't want to be alive anymore. It hit me so hard, and it took me so long to recover. I probably went through the stages of grief over and over again to be okay. For days and days I agonized over the thought of him not being here anymore. I didn't even listen to the album he released. But then one day I was scrolling through Twitter and saw a video of him singing and smiling, and I decided that I wanted to make music for him and show him that I can keep going for him. So now whenever I sing, it's for him. So me being Korean, Jonghyun has had a huge impact on me. Him passing away really hurt me. I felt as if I lost someone close. When he was alive, he made me want to set out for my dreams. He made me go to those auditions and make me believe in myself. Suicide in Korea is taken heavier because it isn't really focused on until Jonghyun passed. I cried for many hours and hours on end. I was listening to Moon and I started breathing heavy and my eyes burned. A huge inspiration other than my three brothers was gone. And I couldn't do anything to change that. Nobody could. If someone was there to talk to him, maybe he would still be doing what he was. He made me want to achieve my most difficult dreams. Jonghyun was one of the best people to walk this earth, and now that he is gone, nobody can replace him. Rest in peace, Kim Jong-un. Jonghyun deserved better. He deserved to have been given the same chances that others dealing with depression have. But we cannot cry that he deserved better. We have to continue on and live the life that he should have been able to. It's been an entire year since he left us, and it's okay to weep, but we need to move forward. For him and the other victims of suicidal depression. It's tough, I know, but we can move forward. Thank you so much for watching, and always, always remember to always keep smiling.
괜찮아요. 또 내게도 봄이 오겠죠. 난 네 앞에 나서는 게 두려워. 혹시 너에게 옮길까봐 내 눈물 내 슬픔 잊고 내게도 봄이 오면 그땐